Welcome to Cans, the marketing podcast. I'm Ben from Human Digital, the B2B marketing agency.
And I'm Steph from Q Marketing. This week, we're talking about one of our favourite days in the marketing calendar and the newest, TMC Marketers Day.
We are fresh from a day with Chanel and a room full of marketers who really get it. Creativity, purpose, and human connection.
So settle in. Today, we're going to unpack the big ideas, bold takes, and a few brave campaigns that have inspired us to think bigger for 2026.
Happy Thursday, Steph. We're almost at Friday.
I know, and it feels like it is almost Thursday. I was like, oh, it feels like it's almost Friday. Happy Thursday, Ben. How are you today?
Happy Thursday. I'm good.
Tell us about your week, well, in the last 48 hours, Ben. What's been happening?
Well, so I've been trying to purchase a couch for probably, I don't know, maybe a year, but seriously for the last few months.
Why has it taken so long? Why?
It's my indecision, I think, but also I don't know if you've tried to buy furniture in New Zealand, but everyone has a 12-week lead time on everything. And it's like, who has time for that? I mean, I feel like whatever couch you buy, it's going to be out of fashion by the time it hits your living room.
Okay.
So, I've been in at Nick Scali and King Living and Freedom. And yeah, it's been a journey. There's definitely a look that I'm going for. It is kind of like that beige couch.
I want to guess. Is it boucle?
Oh my God, Steph, how did you know?
Oh my God, is it really? Okay,
So,
hang on. Is it boucle L-shaped with like the buttons in the middle? Like it's like quite puff. Do you know what I mean? Like a Kardashian type couch.
It's not very Kardashian. It is a puff couch, but it doesn't have the studs. It was going to be an L shape, but the thing with buying an L shape is that it can only be on one side of the room. So I ended up buying one that has an ottoman on it that can switch sides. Anyway, I found the couch. So I was in Freedom and I was looking around and I saw, well, I actually saw two, and the one that I liked, they had in stock. And she was like, oh yeah, and we can ship it, next weekend. And I was like, sold.
Did you literally throw your credit card in? Take it, lady.
I started crying and I gave her my card and
gave her a boo-boo.
Exactly. And now I've got a couch arriving. So I am so stoked. But yeah, now I'm selling my old couch. So if you need a couch, anyone, they look to be fair, they're both white couches.
Okay, I mean, of course they are. Okay.
What have you been up to, Steph, over the last 48 hours?
Oh my God. Okay. So it's actually been quite busy. I popped down to Wellington yesterday for the day to visit Hell Pizza. And I'm pleased to report that the weather was really good. So, you know what they say, can't beat Wellington on a good day. So that made me extremely tired because I also fit an exercise. I literally was on the stepper at Les Mills at 5 a.m. before I even flew down. So I was quite grumpy.
Oh my God. I love the stepper. The stepper is one of the best fitness pieces of equipment in the world.
Don't tell people, because at the Newmarket Les Mills, if you don't get there early, you can't get on it. So don't go on the stepper.
And it used to just be for the ladies, and now everyone's using it.
Yeah, it's quite the line. And I watched the O.J. Simpson documentary whilst I was on the stepper.
God, Steph.
Right. Maybe we won't record 2 episodes in 1 week. Things are going south. Okay. And so then the other thing that I've been doing, 2 things. I've got a Christchurch client up today and we've been out and looked at a strawberry patch. So I've learned, this is a fun fact for you, I've learned a lot about hydroponic strawberry growing today.
Sounds delicious, Steph. I am all up for strawberries.
Yep. So
what's
the
secret? What's the secret for growing good strawberries? Steph, tell us.
I don't have the secret. These are hydroponic, but one fun fact is hydroponically grown strawberries should yield between 1.1 and 1.6 kgs of strawberries per plant.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Cool, eh? Yeah.
All right. I am going to buy one of these hydroponic strawberry plants.
I'll tell you all about it. And then the last thing is in an ode and an homage to our trip to France. We have a progressive dinner this weekend and I've been preparing some French decorations and French, I don't know, like berets basically for my French progressive dinner. So can't give too much away, although I'm sure none of the people coming are listening to the podcast. But yeah, so that's been exciting. I love a dress up.
You have to update us on how it goes.
I will. Or photos. Okay, let's get to the news section. What's been happening in the news, Ben?
Well, it has been a big week. And yeah, one of the big things that happened is there was a Microsoft outage that took down half of the World Wide Web. Maybe not half.
And in New Zealand, they were impacted.
Yeah, you had to board manually. God. So thousands of websites around the world went down during the Microsoft outage, according to Down Detector, and it lasted several hours. And I think most sites are back up. I think it might have happened while we were sleeping. And NVIDIA, which is the chip company, they were the first company to hit a valuation of, get ready for it, Steph, $1 trillion. It's ridiculous. So
I don't know
that's
what to
their
say.
market cap. So they've announced $500 billion in AI chip orders and plans to build 7 new government supercomputers in the US. And the stock has soared nearly 12-fold since late 2022. Some analysts are thinking that it's, a bubble, say it. AI can't escape it now,
No.
and NVIDIA is really the company that's powering this whole change.
We're not an investment podcast, but do we think this is a good time to invest in NVIDIA?
Oh my God, no. I mean, yeah.
That's a different interest group.
Speaking of investing, PayPal is the first company to integrate with ChatGPT, and so they've struck a deal with OpenAI to embed the digital wallet directly into ChatGPT, and the integration allows users to buy products discovered through the AI tool with the feature that's expected to roll out next year. I feel like PayPal was all the rage maybe 10 years ago, but they're not so much anymore.
I use it with my aunties when we have family reunions.
There we go. So the demographic who is still using PayPal.
Even then they fuck it up, but yeah.
So, Steph, what are we talking about this week?
Okay, so I always say this, but it's another exciting episode. So one of the cool things about working in marketing, as we know, is going to cool events. And we've covered a lot of marketing association events. We recently went to Brand Summit. I didn't get to go to this one, but you did. So today we're actually going to be talking to Chanel from the Marketing Club about the very first ever Marketers Day. So really excited to welcome her onto the pod.
Brilliant. Welcome, Chanel. So it's so good to have you on the pod, Chanel. Really appreciate you coming on. I went to Marketers Day, last week. And wow, what an event. I was super impressed. Great lineup, great venue, great speakers, great catering, really well attended, great sponsors.
Here's a fun fact about Ben. He often doesn't eat the catering because he's fasting. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest. Let's have a Victoria Beckham moment here. Did you eat the catering, Ben, or are you just saying that?
No, I saw the catering and everyone was enjoying it, but I did drink the flight coffee.
There you go. See?
That might not be happening anymore because I'm trying to come off caffeine as well.
And have you filled out your feedback form yet?
I have. Yes, I have.
Were you one of the people that complained about the goodie bag being too heavy?
No, the goodie bag was effing amazing. Holy shit. The serum. Oh my God. Like I'm a product boy and I do like taking care of myself. That goodie bag is amazing. Really well done.
Let's break down what was in it, Chanel.
We had a drink bottle from Anew because obviously hydration is key. So we had their lovely alkalized water in their recyclable bottle. We had some collagen and creatine from Radiance, which is pharmacare.
They are too yummy. I ate them too quickly.
We had a brochure, which I spent hours designing, and I don't really think anyone cared about it. Rules for next year.
I have it here. It's good.
Some Swiss vitamins and also the face stuff that Ben was talking about. We had a marketed like a TMC cup as well that says Kick-Ass Marketer on it, which was really fun to do.
That's cool.
We had some 40 Thieves peanut butter. We had some Barker's chutneys and everything. God, I'm so jealous of that. And then obviously it all came in a purple TMC tote bag, which we've never done before. So yeah, really, really exciting. And then everyone also got a merch t-shirt as well, which was cool.
Okay, so that's a good point. Did people put their sizes in? Is that how you did the tees?
Yes.
Okay.
On the registration form, we asked people for their t-shirt size. In saying that though, we had my mum, God bless her soul, hand wrote all the labels for the event. So we'd put everyone's t-shirt size on their label so that mum and dad knew what to give them. But then the amount of people who changed their size option on the day, so then it skewed everyone else. So I literally ended up buying more luggage just to bring all the t-shirts home with me because I've got so many left over from t-shirt size changes.
So do you have a lot of extra smalls and extra larges?
I have a lot of extra small.
Yeah, it's that bell curve, right? I used to work in fashion and it's really tough. You end up with stuff at either end of the spectrum.
Yeah, well, I mean, I obviously there was an MOQ that we had to fill and I did it based off what was in the registration thing and it just, So like learnings for next year.
Yeah. Well, should we take a step back and so
Yeah.
obviously welcome to Can the Podcast.
Hi.
Tell us, fresh off the success of Marketers Day, do you want to maybe take us back to the origin story of where the idea came from and kind of right from the beginning? What made you decide Marketers Day?
Yeah, I mean, for anyone who knows me well, knows that I love a good challenge. We were doing all of our educational events, our social networking events, those were happening every other month, and we were getting a lot of feedback of people. Every time we do an event, we ask for feedback. So we're getting people saying like, oh, I want you to cover this, I want you to cover that. And I was like, oh my God, we could do like 50 educational events a year and we're never going to get to all those individual things. So I started thinking, how do we kind of make our events bigger to really kind of harness all of that feedback? And I mean, we have done it with some panels, like we'll run a panel on a certain topic and actually split the panels into two to get different variances of voices, etc. And we did that and I was like, oh, still doesn't feel like enough. And then I think when I thought like, oh my God, what if we do our first conference? I don't really like that word. I just don't know what else to call it, because it definitely didn't feel like a conference. It felt more of like marketing festival. But that was kind of, I thought like, okay, that could be the big, hairy, audacious thing we try to achieve this year. I put it on hold because we were waiting to get like a really good committee to help. So for those people who don't know, TMC is very volunteer committee run. And at the start of the year, we had to like re-recruit our whole committee because obviously people's life changes, all that sort of things. And I was like, great idea. Don't have the team to help you. But I was like, oh, I probably need some help on this one. And then as soon as we recruited the new committee, I kind of thought it was a really good time to pretend that Marketers Day was already planned and I was just briefing them on it.
Oh, so that's the first bit of tea, right? So welcome, guys. This is already happening.
Yeah, I was like, hey, stoked to have you guys here. So this is what we've got planned this year, and this is when we need to start planning. And obviously they had no idea. So they're like, oh yeah, cool, no, that sounds great. And I'm like, great.
And were they like,
crossed off dumping the idea on everyone?
How much of this is already done?
None. I think I had a spreadsheet with about 110 different businesses to reach out to. I sort of started drafting up some ideas of who's who in the zoo, of who I wanted on the panel. But other than that, it was like a pretty clean slate.
So this was the first New Zealand event, and the marketing club is across Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah.
Are you thinking about a Sydney event?
It's literally already in motion for next year. Yeah.
That's
so
brilliant.
for Marketers Day, obviously I think commercially, if I look at it from a business mind, which I don't always have, doing it in Australia probably would have been more commercially viable just because of the scale of the businesses that are there and the brands that would jump on board. I'm such a community human, and it didn't feel right to do our first ever of something and not bring it home to where TMC began. So I was like, it has to happen in Auckland. It's like, there is no way in hell this is not happening in Auckland first.
Yeah, nice.
So rewinding back even further, so you said that marketing club started in New Zealand. Tell us about the origin. Like, how did the marketing club start and happen?
Yeah, gosh, I feel like everyone's like heard this story 1,000 times, but obviously not always. I guess I had the idea as a marketer coming up in my career. I was always the first marketing hire in a lot of roles I was getting at the time. I don't know what I did in a past life to deserve that, but it was just this curse that I could not break. And at the start, because I didn't know enough about marketing, I was like, oh, this is fun. This is exciting. I'm the only one. Like, I get to create things. And then I think about the 5 or 6 year mark, I was like, this is incredibly lonely. This is really isolating. I've got no one in my team who I can ask to for help. Like, I didn't even have a marketing manager that I could report to sort of mentor me in a way. And I just remember thinking, like, I can't be the only person going through this. And I had the idea, sat on it for about a year. I was going to a lot of industry events at the time, and I was kind of trying to feel out the landscape. And I mentioned it to a few people just in passing, like, oh, like, wouldn't it be great if there was a community we could hang out in? And I was like, Kiwis don't join communities. Like, we don't want to ask for help. We definitely don't admit when we don't know something. And I was like, shit, there's the whole reason I wanted community, and everyone already said no. And then I think the tipping point for me was I got into my Reaper. So again, first marketing hire. Not only had to build marketing as a function for the business, but then go and do all of it. And I'd never worked in FMCG before. Never really, I basically got handed a marketing budget and said, right, go and do everything. And I was like, wait, what? What do you mean go and do everything? And they was like, well, you did this amazing marketing strategy. You've got all these ideas of how we can help grow the business. And the business was already growing 200% month on month without marketing. So I felt like the pressure of like, oh, well, now we've got marketing, so it's going to be 400%. I was like, oh my God, like, what have I got myself into? But it was exciting. Like, I'd never been given that level of freedom in a role to really prove what I could do when someone trusts in my ability. So it was this real catch-22 of, oh my God, I love this. I'm running as fast as I can with this. But at the same time, I'm dying. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have anyone to talk to about it. So
Yeah.
that was kind of the tipping point of I need help. I already had this idea a year ago of building a community. So maybe if I actually just start getting the wheels in motion, even if it's small, like I've said a lot of the times, coffee meetup, 30 marketers once a month. We can trauma bond, talk about what we do, kind of feel validated in the things that I think I'm going crazy over. And then that'd be job done. And I remember I spoke at an event with Tracksuit actually. And I was on the panel and I was like giving like a closing speech or something. And in the back of my head, I was like, you should mention this marketing community that you said you're going to build. And I just saw 100 people trapped in a room staring at me. And I was like, this is the moment to say it. So I just
let it
counted
out.
down and threw. Yeah. And I was like, by the way, like if you're a marketer, I'm thinking of doing this marketing community. Like I'm going to start on Slack, just super chill. And then I left the room and I thought, right, now I've actually got to go and start the Slack channel because I literally told people I were doing it. So that night, went home, started Slack, posted about it on LinkedIn the next day. And it was so innocent. I was like, I'm a marketer. If you're a marketer, like come and join me. Like this will be our safe space to talk about all the things. And within the first week, we had 180 marketers join.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, 30 marketers, coffee once a month. So to immediately like triple that just in the first week and have that many people come in, I was like, oh dear God. And then everyone was kind of staring at me to be like, cool. So like,
what
what's
is it?
next? What are we doing? Yeah, like, what is this? And I was like, this wasn't supposed to be anything. And I think for about 6 months, at the 6-month mark, we had 1,000 members in the Slack community. I was like seeing myself. But also,
were they all from around New Zealand then? Because if it's Slack, they would have not necessarily all been in Auckland, right?
No. So when I started TMC, obviously I was just thinking Auckland bubble.
Yeah.
I like it. Because I was even at a Reaper, I was like, oh, Morningside bubble, Ponsonby, like it'll just, the local cafe kind of thing. So everyone, it was just New Zealand because again, I didn't think it was going to be any bigger than that ever. And then I would say at about the 1,000 member mark, we had so many new people coming in and everyone's like, oh, they're having the Slack as the resource, the marketers in your back pocket. This is great. But, I really joined for connection and connection is meeting people in person. So like, when is that going to start?
Here's a question. Did that grow? So obviously for you starting it wasn't about necessarily getting marketing help because you kind of were doing the marketing thing. It was more about sort of like just sort of more emotional support with fellow like-minded people. How did that community actually grow? So how in actual fact did it go from 180 to 1,000? Like, was it just word of mouth? Was there how do people find out about it?
It was literally just word of mouth. I always like to preface this with I had a bit of a following on LinkedIn. I think I had about 5,000 followers on LinkedIn at the time, and I'd sort of been documenting my journey on LinkedIn. So I think a lot of people were kind of listening to me. And then when I said, I'm a marketer, I'm struggling, and now I'm building something to help me not struggle as much, everyone was like, oh, that sounds really good. I'll join the thing that you're starting because I already trust you. So I always think it's important to preface that I'm very aware that my following on LinkedIn had a lot to do with people converting and coming into TMC Slack. But it was literally just word of mouth. Like all I did was like post about it on LinkedIn. I was like, oh my God, I've got like 200 people now, 300 people. Oh, now we're doing social networking events. And then everyone, because there was nothing really like that as a community focus in the industry at the time, someone would come to a social networking event, everyone would post about it on LinkedIn the next day. And then obviously their whole network would be like, oh my God, what is this? Like, how do I join it?
Yeah, so events were critical, right? So kind of because once you come into the Slack channel, that's just a place to chat, right? And then so the actual taking it into the physical was probably the next natural step.
Point.
Yeah.
And I remember some of those first bar visits, which were great. I mean, it's such an amazing group of marketers.
Good home.
Yeah, it was pub quiz stuff, wasn't it?
Yeah, we did. I mean, that was really challenging because obviously everyone had sort of said like, cool, when are we going to start networking in person? And I didn't know that people wanted that. Like I obviously wanted it, but I didn't think at scale everyone wanted it. So it was kind of, I'm a massive like MVP for launch, the path of least resistance. And I was like, well, if I just pick a bar, tell people that this is where we're meeting, it's like showing up with a bunch of mates. Like there's no like lift on my end other than being there and telling people. And then I think once we did that a few times, it probably really spoke to the vibe of TMC that I unintentionally created because it just felt so chill.
Yeah.
So there was never any agenda, any bigger plan. It was like, oh shit, I just got to meet 30 marketers on a Tuesday night at a local bar. Like this was so cool.
Home could actually do a marketing campaign and go, look, OG home of TMC.
Yeah, I think they loved us until we did one social networking event and I booked for 30 and then 120 showed up and the guy called me and he was like, hey, like we always have space for you guys, but like this was a little bit ridiculous. I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that many. Because we used to like, you always account for like 30 to 50% drop
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
So, like 250 people at RSVP. And I was like, oh, there's no way. So to have like half of those show up, I was like, oh shit.
So then going back to, okay, so Marketers Day, you've got a hit list of people. Now, I'm really interested to know how did you decide, well, A, topics, and B, kind of who was going to be on those panels? Like if you've got a really long list of people, and then how did the outreach work? Because I think that's a really good thing to dial into. What's the sales pitch on that?
Yeah, I guess the topics literally just came from all the feedback that we'd gathered of about, 2 years worth of events. Like every single event we do, whether it's social networking or educational, I DM everyone and say, thank you for coming. Would love to hear your feedback. And in the feedback form, always, what would you like to see us do next? What topics would you like us to address? So I literally just collated all of that data, chucked it into ChatGPT and was like, what are the common themes that are coming up here? Looked at that and then was like, how could I sort of segment that into 3 or 4 major panels? And I think important context too, like we always wanted to do Marketers Day. I've been to those events since like by the afternoon, your energy's waning and you're like, oh my God, this is like not that engaging.
Well, if you eat the catering, you have a post-lunch slump.
Yeah. Yeah, we need like a little post-nap corner for everyone. But, like we would have loved to be able to mix up, like panel, workshop.
Yeah.
But I was like, for the first one we've ever done, let's just, the way that I saw it in my head, I was like, this is just a normal educational event that we do, but 4 back to back.
Yeah.
Because every educational event we do is a panel. So I was like, well, this is just that scaled. So again, path of least resistance, MVP for launch. So yeah, pretty much figured out the topics, like put them into buckets. And then I was like, okay, now I've got my 4 topics. Who do I know in my network that would be absolutely goated that could talk to these topics, but bring a different angle from each? And obviously, there was the argument of like, oh, is it just a 2-person panel, a 3, a 5, like what kind of format would work best? And I think once we kind of solidified the topics that we wanted, using the speakers to sit in different areas of that topic based on their experience. So, like agency, venture studio, creative, founder, that was really a way then that we could ensure that we got a really like good variety. Because I mean, nothing's worse when you go to a marketing conference and you hear people talk and 6 people say exactly the same thing. And
I think that's a good, because I wasn't there, but Ben, from your perspective, how did that go for you?
The balance was brilliant, and the way that you'd set up the stage with the couches and everything, it was really well done and really well thought through. And people weren't saying the same thing. There was a little bit of disagreement. That all of the good things that you want in the panel.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were bringing new scrappy ideas to the table as well. It wasn't just the same old stuff that you hear.
And it's so important with panels, because I've seen panels fall flat, right? Like, and to your point, Chanel, if people are just saying the same thing over and over, or if it's a little bit of a hard sell, like that's the last thing people want to, right? So you got to be really that balance, I think, is genius, where you don't want people going and look at my amazing brand and look at my amazing agency and this is all the cool shit. Although Ben and I do love a motion sickness, personally.
Yeah.
There's a couple of faves that we've got. But when you were thinking about putting the whole Marketers Day together, matching up the panel, there's topics, matching up panel with audience, right? So who's in the room. In your mind, who did you kind of imagine attending and building some of that content around that audience?
Yeah, I think that one's really interesting, because I remember when I was at Arepa and I was focusing on their marketing, I was like, well, who's our target audience? And they said, for everyone with a brain.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is super unhelpful.
I've got some things to say about everyone. Yes.
Not everyone.
Yeah, not everyone.
I'm sure everyone can think of someone that doesn't come to mind on that one. But very similar with TMC, when someone says, who are you guys for? Every marketer at all ages and stages of their career. So trying to put, I almost created a rod for my own back on that one, because trying to put a panel together that wasn't going to be C-suite only, junior only, mid to senior level only, it was actually a lot harder than I think people realize. Like everyone's like, oh, this is so great. And I was like, you have no idea.
There's chemistry. There's absolutely a degree of chemistry in a panel too, right? Like, so you could be functionally really good, but there's an element of, well, but will you speak your mind, or will you say, have a point of view?
Yeah, and I think I massively, similar to the question you asked before about the outreach for the panels, I was connected to every single panelist on LinkedIn. I knew who they were. I vaguely or deeply knew their journey. I'd heard some of them talk before. I knew their personality and how they show up. So it wasn't really, there was no hesitation on my end of, oh God, are these people going to be okay? I was like, all of you are weapons. I've got a personal relationship with you. And now I'm going to ask you for a favor because I've got this day that I'm planning and you're a gun and I would love to have you on. And it was literally just a DM in LinkedIn like, hey, we're pulling this massive event together. We've never done it. Like, you're amazing. Would love to include you on this day.
I bet you no one said no.
No one said no.
Yeah.
And tell us about the sponsorships. How were you able to wrangle some pretty heavy hitters to support you?
Yeah, sponsorship. My God, you need money to make these events happen, right? And I can totally see, like I admitted very early on to the team, these other industry giants that put these events on that already have sponsorship before the events even start. I'm like, I now understand why they do that. Because we were literally planning the event, figuring out like, okay, where are we having it? How many people? What kind of budget will we need? So we were like reverse engineering it. And then based off that, it was like, what would we need to charge for tickets just to cover the operating cost? Like, we weren't even looking at making money. I was like, if we don't lose money, I would be absolutely stoked. But then on top of that, for the pricing, it was like, other than not wanting to lose money, I also don't want to get out of touch of what TMC stands for and charge more than what we're comfortable with, because our whole reason for existence is to include the marketing community.
Yeah.
And there's so many epic events that I've wanted to go to that I am immediately priced out of. So it was a real tricky dance between, we want to be really inclusive for everyone and affordable, but we also need to make the event happen. And, I literally come to a choice of people over money. So I was like, this is how much I can afford to lose on this. Like, this is my personal money. I will put in to make this happen, just to like validate that we can do this. And then, next year I'll tap myself back in
which is
on what I'm owed.
Probably a standard operating model too, to some extent, right? Promoters will say the same thing. Like, if you're a gig, sometimes it can be really touch and go.
It was basically just a bit of a dance of, who do we think belongs in the room?
Yep.
Like, what brands am I connected to that it would almost be criminal to run a marketing event if your brand was not there? And then I was just like shooting DMs everywhere. I was like, come on, guys, like, get involved. Obviously, in hindsight, I don't think from a grassroots marketing, like, this is so niche of my problem, but as a grassroots marketing community with no funding and no real budget or savings, I would probably never do an event in October again, just because everyone's money's already spoken for the year.
Yeah.
So to not be a part of the January budget conversations was really, really challenging. And a lot of people said, we love everything that you're doing. We're obsessed with it. We'd love to be involved, but all our money's gone. It's like, you contacted us in August, the events in October. Like, we're done. I'll show up and I'll support, but I can't put money. And then obviously other people on the other side were like, look, we love and support what you do, but this is also your first time. So we'll just sit back and watch it happen. And then next year we'll tap in.
Was that a surprise? Like, I think, had you sort of anticipated that?
What, sorry?
Did that come as a surprise? I think, like, as you because, the first time you do anything, there's lots of learnings. As people were saying that, but we're like, oh, we were going to sit back and wait. Did that come as a surprise?
I don't think so. I think, and maybe again, like, I was almost sitting there like, fair enough. I wouldn't feel comfortable betting on it either. For like, I get it. But I think, like, knowing, obviously a lot of it was just the timing of trying to get all of this done. But then also, like, we get so used to being in our own echo chamber or bubble and thinking everyone knows about us. And like, for example, like Rocket Spark, who, who sponsored us, who were amazing, like, they'd only just started hearing about TMC in September. They'd literally never heard of us before. And it was just so happened that Grant, who's the founder of Rocket Spark, had heard me on a podcast talking to Simon Pound on his Business is Boring, talk about the marketing club. And he was like, oh, wow, what's that? That sounds interesting. And it just reminds me to never get in my bubble and think that everyone knows what we do. Because I'm like, we've been going for 3 years, but this person just listened to a podcast, probably fell on my episode because he doesn't even know who I am, and then started hearing about the marketing club and was like, oh, wow, that could be interesting.
I mean, that is one of the number one rules of marketing, right? Or brand. No one cares about your brand as much as you think they do.
Yeah.
Because the minute you're in it, like whether it's your marketing community or in your own business, we lose all sense of what it means to live in the outside world. Yeah. I mean, that's awesome. I think, and testament, and it just goes to show the importance of different channels too, right? Like, if it came through Simon's podcast just goes to show the importance of kind of reach in different channels. Outside. Yeah.
It just psychotically validated for me why I say yes to everything. I'm like, you need to slow down. And they're like, but look at what happens when you say yes.
So one of the big things that you're focusing on is community building, and you've built such a great community with the marketing club. What are some of your tips to creating great community?
Well, I'm actually running a webinar on this in a few weeks, but I would say first and foremost, figure out why you're doing it and the genuine reason why. Why does community need to exist in the space that I want to build it? Because I think a lot, and we're seeing, communities like the new buzzword, right? Everyone wants to build community. They want to run all these events, blah, blah, blah. If building community and bringing people together is not actually a problem you want to solve, you're just doing it for the little hype thing that you get to do every now and then for a campaign moment, don't do it, because people see right through that, right? And I think for me, that was, I've always admitted that like TMC was never supposed to be as big as it was. And I think the reason that it did is because it was so, and I mean, I'm transparent as glass, but it was so obvious that was never my intention. So it immediately disarmed people because they didn't feel like they were supporting something that was disingenuous.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing as well is like figure out, once you figure out why you're doing it, and yes, there's a need and you've got product market fit or whatever, I think also figure out how you're going to do it. So like for me with TMC, if I look back at it now, I was like, okay, what does this look like in terms of getting people in? In terms of the MarTech stack, I'm going to use the channels that we're going to be on. LinkedIn, I'm already on there, so that's great. Instagram marketers are already on there, so that's great. Okay, so what about where you want to bring people online? Slack. 90% of the workforce use Slack for their comms already in the workplace, so we're not asking people to change a habit to join something. We're just adding to the thing that they're already on. And this is obviously the argument, with the circles and the schools of the world, because you're literally asking people to learn a new tool on top of being in a new community. And it's a lot for our human brains to handle. It's not worth it, but it's another step, right? Like if you haven't validated to me that this community is important, how many hoops am I willing to jump through when you're trying to teach me this thing? And then the third thing I would say is just consistently like show up and prove the value of what you're doing. And I think for TMC, that happened very early on, because as soon as we started doing those social networking events, I think the first few we got maybe 20 or 30. And then literally after that, it was like 50 plus every single time. And you think 50 plus marketers who are all on LinkedIn, who know the power of sharing about an experience and who love being the one to say, I discovered this thing. Literally after each event, we would always get people sharing that they went to that event.
Yeah.
So it's like one event, 60 plus touch points go out into the world. The next day we get the big group photo and we tag everyone. That is just like almost an exponential flywheel of community building community. Like I've always said, like I don't really take as much as, I built the house and invited people in. Community have kept the house party going. It's like the big block party that people keep hearing about, and they flyer drop because they love it so much. And I think that's just such an important thing for people to remember.
So if a marketer is looking to get involved, whether they want to participate in the community or want to volunteer, like what's the best way for them to get involved in TMC?
Yeah, well, I mean, we have a shiny new website now, which is super exciting. As we've got bigger, we've been able to, well, I say I've been able to justify putting my own money aside to spend to do these kind of things for TMC. So like our website's obviously got all our information. Most of our following in our community is on LinkedIn as well. But like in terms of what we offer, like this year, we launched a mentorship program, which is really, really cool. Marketers at all ages and stages giving back to other marketers at all ages and stages. So I think when we launched that, a lot of people were like, oh, well, it's only mentorship for, if you're a junior and you want to be by a senior. But what we're seeing, which is really interesting, and, my gut instinct told me it would happen, but I mean, I've been wrong 1,000 times before. We're actually getting people connect who are in the same section of the industry or in the same kind of experience, and they're almost just looking for someone to talk to.
Yeah.
So that was a really cool initiative to launch. We launched paid memberships this year as well, which was like, oh my God, the scariest thing I have done. Like the day that we launched that was just absolutely terrifying, but it was just what we needed to do to be able to kind of take that next step, obviously drive more value. Like I spoke about it at Marketers Day on stage, but it got to the point where we were running events and I was literally sitting in the room watching people eat the catering that I'd paid for and then like throwing half of it away. And I'm like, oh my God, there goes my $3.50 spring roll. Like, and it was getting to, with so many people starting to come to our events, I was like, I can't afford, because all of that money was coming out of me because TMC wasn't bringing any money in. We were building the community, building the vibes, building the value, but there was nothing to pay for it. And it just kind of got to that sort of tipping point that I suppose every business gets to at some point. I mean, TMC is not even a business, but everyone gets to at some point of it's like, I've got to take the big scary jump to take this up a notch.
Yeah. Was there much?
So that's something else.
Was there much difference in because Aussie and New Zealand is really different markets, right? And when you launched paid, was there a distinction between the uptake between the two countries? Because my guess is that Aussies more happy to put their hands in their wallets for shit.
Yeah, I would say the data for us is skewed on that because we had such an OG fan base in New Zealand that we launched. Everyone was like, well, by the way, I would have paid for this 2 years ago. And I was like, you couldn't have told me that while I was dying.
Stop eating my fucking spring rolls.
Savings, being like, how do I make this thing work? And then Australia was obviously a different kettle of fish because by the time everyone started being aware of us, they didn't know us unpaid. They only ever got introduced to us as paid. But you are right. I think as well, there's just a little bit more hunger in Australia. Everyone's like kind of ruthless over here compared to Kiwis because we're so soft and warm and loving and beautiful. But yeah, that sort of switch of like everyone being willing to pay for a thing. Like you don't get anything for free in Australia except fresh air in the ocean, So it wasn't really a hard sell.
Yeah.
So rumor has it that you're starting a podcast. Tell us about your podcast.
Yes. Oh my gosh. This has been almost 2 years in the making. I had it on the 2024 TMC launch plan, and then
I think I remember this.
Oh yeah,
I was there for that.
Yeah. It was on the launch plan for 2024. We had a bunch of committee members leave again, life, all of those kind of things happen. And then I was sitting there and it was just me and Megan who runs our newsletters. And we we're like, we probably can't do this by ourselves. And I was like, no, I don't think so. So we put it on hold. And then when we got our brand new committee this year, I was like, right. And again, dumped it on them as if it was always the plan. By the way, this is the thing that we're doing this year.
It's hard work, man. Like it's not, and like, it is. It's hard work. Doing a podcast is a bloody commitment. And yes, you and Megan probably could have done it. So you've got a great committee and they're into it.
Yeah. So we're planning. I mean, I laugh. I thought we were going to be able to launch it before Marketers Day because I was like, oh, we'll build the hype. We'll be able to give a shout out on stage. Go check out the pod. We need all these listens to monetize it. Like, woo! And that just fell flat on its face because I'd massively underestimated how much went into planning that event. So we're launching it next month.
Awesome.
Brilliant.
Exciting.
Yeah.
And we'll be able to see it on all the podcast platforms. Get the words out, Steph. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's been the other thing, like even just figuring out, and again, why are we doing this? What is the value? We don't just want to be another podcast adding to the noise of all the other podcasts, like what are the stories we're trying to tell? I mean, you guys will know. Yeah. What are you trying to do with it? What is the value that you're adding? We don't just want white noise. And then even just the logistics, like the admin of like, what do you need to do to set up a podcast? Heaps. Have we, like briefing everyone, like the note or, the creative, like my God, the creative tiles that we're doing for the pod. I'm like, I didn't realize there were so many like specifications of what we needed.
So give us the elevator pitch. Give us the spiel on the TMC podcast.
So we're calling it the Marketing Clubhouse because everyone's invited into a clubhouse. I also love that the acronym of that is still TMC. But it's basically for marketers at all ages and stages of their career. So we're interviewing everyone from uni students still studying marketing up to C-suite agency owners. It very much just embodies literally what TMC is about already. We're just taking it audio only. Again, MVP for launch. Everyone's like, oh, video, we need podcast studios. I'm like, no, we are doing audio only. We'll just validate this thing first and then we'll see how we go and what scaling.
Video is really, I've said this a few times, Ben. Ben's always like, watch the YouTube. I'm like, don't watch the YouTube. Just go to Spotify.
I watch the YouTube. It's hilarious.
I don't.
Well, Chanel, it's been so good to have you. Congratulations on Marketers Day and the Marketing Club.
Thank you.
And thank you for everything that you're doing for the community in New Zealand and Australia. And looking forward to hearing the podcast when you launch.
I know, me too.
And bring on Sydney next year.
Yeah, oh my gosh, bring on Sydney next year.
Well, as you know, Steph, I love a good conference. And I don't say this lightly, but Marketers Day was top-notch. The speakers, the sponsors, the goodie bag, it's really clear that they put in a lot of effort. And so big shout out to Chanel and all of the TMC volunteers, both past and present, for all of the work that they're putting into that community.
And that's such good feedback, Ben, because as you know, like doing something for the first time, that's always the hardest time that you've got to do it. And there'll be heaps of learnings. So I think that's what a testament to, like, for you to have gone along and had such a great time. It's awesome. I think we're really lucky because there's such a plethora of great marketing events out there now. And I think, Marketers Day is just kind of the start of that. And I reckon that we're going to see a lot more of this next year, which, it's just great for the marketing profession, to be honest. And I think also, one of the other things I would say is really worth thinking about other events that are out there that aren't maybe just in the marketing space. So we've just come off the back of Auckland Startup Week, which I know was hugely successful for small businesses in that startup space. And maybe looking at things like even the Business Chamber, because they have great after 5 events and networking as well. So getting maybe slightly outside that marketing sphere, but still offering great networking opportunities.
Yes, and across New Zealand and Australia, there are so many amazing organisations. The Australian Marketing Institute, the Marketing Association, Auckland, Icehouse runs events.
Yeah.
You've got innovation, you've got tech, you've got South by Southwest. Yeah, so definitely get in with the marketers, but also break out, as Steph says.
Yeah. So next episode, what are we thinking?
We've got some cool stuff coming up. We have another guest. So Hamish from ASB is coming in to talk about some campaigns they are doing, continuing in the theme of banking and marketing. And Hamish actually spoke at Marketers Day. So yeah, great to
Cool.
get Hamish fresh off the stage. What other ideas do you have, Steph?
Okay, well, I'm sick of you coming at me with all the banking stuff. And if anyone follows me on LinkedIn, I'm such a huge fan of Foursquare, and people know this about me now. And now they send me things about called collabs. So that's actually sparked an idea that I've got about doing something in the brand collab space, because I actually think that's a really great format for marketing. And another thing that we're toying up with is doing a personal branding session. So I think probably in the next few weeks before Christmas, you'll see a couple of those apps coming out, right?
Yes, and Christmas is fast on our heels. Today is Halloween. And yeah, it is the silly season. So have a great week, Steph.
Yeah, you too, Ben. Awesome.
Have a good week, everyone.